So what I was saying is we're going to be talking about the project management tools that are in the Autodesk Construction Cloud and talk about how putting them into one toolbox as opposed to having tools scattered over several different toolboxes, that makes your life simpler by having one toolbox to worry about with all of the things that you need in one place. But all of those tools have to meet all of the needs, so everything is there that you need. And with that, I want to move on to talking about the field environment. Designing and constructing a building is tough. It needs people from a variety of fields and with differing expertise. Each group is responsible for their discipline, but is dependent on others. And there's lots of information, not just the geometry of the building, but specifications, testing requirements, custom fabrications, and schedules right down to each of the millions of individual building components. Unlike everything else, building design projects are on tight budgets and schedules. Missing either the cost target or the opening date can have significant economic impact. But let's not just focus on the construction phase, let's consider the entire process. The building's life cycle starts with the architect performing programmatic design in response to the owner's needs. The design goes through conceptual stage to detailed design, typically with many iterations. And then in the detailed design, we'll have consultants who are joining the project for mechanical, structural, electrical, plumbing. The design process results in a documentation set of the documentation of the design, which is in enough detail to actually construct the building. The construction phases are traditionally where the general contractor operates. Fabrication, construction planning, logistics, and execution of construction all follow the documentation provided by the architect. And during this entire process, there are many different players contributing to the end result. Whether they are specialist consultants, niche architects, MEP engineers, and contractors, all have to work with the same data and collaborate during their time with the project. And this doesn't always go smoothly. The project management tools have to allow the players to collaborate and anticipate issues during construction. We often talk about the design and construction process as five-dimensional. The usual X, Y, Z dimensions of space, plus a dimension for time and one for cost. Likewise, the tools needed are 5D in nature. There are tools to create and examine the 3D BIM model and manage change. There are tools to create a cost model and budget and to measure cash flow against that budget. And there are tools to create and manage a schedule of tasks. Both the cost and schedule tools highlight the impact of changes during the construction process. And very importantly, there are collaboration tools to keep all the partners in the project informed of status, to be involved in change management, and to be responsible for delivering their part of the project. If you can deliver up-to-date data to all players, what benefits can you expect? Probably the most important thing to do is to have a single source of information, something that everyone can access and be secure, knowing that they are getting the most current data, whether it's in the form of a model, a drawing, or a photo. This data platform must have version control with the ability to look at or possibly revert to prior versions. The model information will start to be collected in the early design phase and continue right through operations. All partners need notification of changes or potential changes before they happen. This needs to be the go-to for all project members using any device anywhere. So let's see what that might look like. Here is ACC, Autodesk Construction Cloud, and you can see that the information comes in a structured form. We can build these folders to reflect how we're going to organize the data. These folders are structured by discipline. So we have a folder for architecture, a folder for civil, a folder for electrical, and so on. And we can organize these folders any way we want to. Each folder has permissions assigned, so the electrical engineers can go into the electrical folder and do all of their work and take ownership of that work. But they don't have access to the architectural folder. That's the responsibility of the architect. So we can make sure that every player in the project has access to their data and responsibility to deliver exactly what's needed. Excuse me. These folders can contain models. They can contain um, MS Word files. They can maintain. They can have PDFs. They can have spreadsheets. So whatever kind of information you want to control, you want to have a part of the project. It could be here, so that everybody has access to the same thing. And if we look at one of these models, let's pull up one of them. This is a model of a structure, and you can see it truly is a 3D model with all of the detail. And it's intelligent enough to know that when I pick on an object, in this case a window, I can see information about that window. I could see things like the manufacturer, the model number, the thermal properties. All of that information about the window is included in this model, and we can query it and find out where it is and what it is. And that's important because if this model is going to be used by everybody, everyone might have a different reason for accessing it. Certainly at pre-con stage, the estimator would need to know manufacturer and model number. At installation, we would need rough openings and uh, details of what installation process might look like. So having all the information in one place is important. And even though we're looking at a 3D model, there is, of course, drawings that are associated with that model. And these drawings come over and are associated and locked to that same model. So in one place, we have both the drawings and the 3D model. Now, when we're looking at this model, we have control over changes, so that if a change occurred, we could take that change and submit it to a review process. So this review process we could set up being as complicated or as simple as we want. In this case, it's a two-step review process. So any changes have to be approved by the project engineer and then approved by the client or whoever we want to specify for that process. So that workflow is built into the way you build your system. And of course, if we're talking about changes, we could see that here's a history of changes. This is version 14 that was made just last week. And if we're looking at changes, one of the first things that people want to know is, well, what changed? When I went from 13 to 14, what was different? So you can have a compare capability. And what it would do is go into the model and show in green any object that's been added to the model. In this case, a window was added. In red, anything that was removed. And anything that was changed is shown in yellow. So here we have a door that was moved. So if I click on the door, it says it was moved 9.5 feet. So what happened was the door was moved over to make room for the window. The window was installed, and the cutouts on that wall with the rough opening for the window and rough opening for the door, that made the wall change. So you see, when we've got version control, we can go back and look and see what has happened and what has changed from version to version. Properly implemented, that data platform eliminates concerns about data access, reliability, and how current the information is. So you're getting data, you're getting all of this data under control. What are the benefits from that? First off, you're going to get everybody to agree to use a single source of all data. That means no one has special drawings in their back pocket, that they don't have different data on their laptops from everybody else. Everybody's getting the information from the same source. It's ensuring everybody has access, whatever device they want, laptop, phone, tablet, from wherever they're working, in the office, in the trailer, or on site. It maintains versions of data, especially models or drawings, where you have version control on them, and establishes a folder structure and permissions so that each trade can own their data and be responsible for it. We recommend that to make this all come together, that there's a written agreement on standards and procedures, sort of like a BIM execution plan for project management. All right, what about cost? Cost is always an important concern. At the pre-con stage, you can take advantage of tools that pull estimating information directly from the BIM model. You can condition that data to reflect the real-world situation, add objects not in the model, assign the tasks to match your work breakdown structure, and solicit bids for the work. This cost data can be integrated into your corporate level financials without data reentry. As the project progresses, actual expenses and labor costs can be substituted for the estimates. And analytics based on artificial intelligence can predict what areas are running over estimates, so you can focus your attention on them. Here we see a pre-con takeoff of specific concrete elements from the BIM model and bid submittals created from that takeoff. This tool eliminates errors in takeoff or translations between physical financial systems and provides the PM with a top-level view of the takeoff and bid process, and allows him to manage the bid environment by keeping track of who the bidders are, what level of success they've had with previous bids, what their experience has been, and qualifying the bidder. So to get these cost benefits, what you need to do? Well, you need to establish a cost structure and work breakdown structure so that the costs can be predicted and properly allocated as the work gets done. You have to have a documented procedure that the takeoffs can follow, ensuring that nothing gets overlooked or double counted. You need to link the project management cost data to the corporate system and eliminate any duplicate data reentry, which is always a place where errors can creep in. As the work gets done, you capture the costs and update daily. And we'll be seeing in a second that there are daily reports that you can that can be filled out that show what they were working on that particular day, how much effort went into it, what got accomplished, so you can keep track of the costs on a daily basis. And it's also important that you can use the analytics to predict what areas are of concern, so you can focus attention on them, keep them within control. Scheduling is usually done at the macro level during pre-con to establish the major phases of the project and get commitments from the partners. It tends to be fairly fluid at the beginning, but rapidly gets solidified. With a strong implementation of the project management tools, the schedule can be maintained so that tasks may be tied to objects to be installed. Labor and equipment like cranes necessary to perform the task are connected. The tasks and work breakdown structure are linked so that the labor and materials for the task connect to the costing. Now, for large projects, there may be micro-level schedules maintained in a scheduling system like MS Project or Primavera. These can be linked to the macro-level schedule kept with the ACC. Here we see a Gantt chart of some tasks and the forecast distribution of costs over a set of tasks. Some of these tasks may have slack time, so they can be delayed, while others are on the critical path. The impact of changes to the schedule can be evaluated both in time and in money. The implementation of scheduling links the scheduled tasks to objects in the BIM model. The tasks also connect to the costing structure. If you are maintaining a micro-level schedule in another app, the project management schedule is mapped to summary nodes of the detailed schedule. In the very early stages of the project, change is to be expected and should be made easy. At that stage, consensus and commitment are important. Later on, the change process has to be formalized and should only happen after full analysis. The analytics available should be used to predict the impact of the change and to report where the project is versus plan. In the end, PMs work with people with their own objectives and goals. A good project will be structured so that all the partners benefit by being team players and collaborating. But this doesn't happen automatically. The PM has to use tools to ensure partners are told what they need to know, are given the opportunity to make suggestions and to when there are changes. All of these tools have to be able to be used in the office, the trailer, or on site. Tools include keeping track of correspondence, meetings, attendees, decisions made, and action item assignments. Drawings and models need to be backed up with suggestions or changes. Questions or concerns from the project partners can be entered as issues and assigned for resolution. The PM is presented daily with the open issues so nothing gets overlooked. The RFI workflow is defined and secure. If the RFI results in a change order, the appropriate changes are made to the costing and scheduling. Safety is a key concern of the PM, so they have to have checklists to verify the workers have the right PPE, lifts and moves are properly orchestrated, and equipment operators have the right training. And there has to be a daily report on tasks the various disciplines expect to accomplish and what really happened. Let's see what some of these tools look like. Again, we have a folder structure that has all of the models and the drawings in, like we were looking at before. We also have the ability to create forms that are filled out in the field. So, for example, a daily report would show what was expected to be done, what areas of concern there are, and what needs to be accomplished. At the end of the day, it can be compared with what really happened. And I mentioned that safety is an important part. So every day you get the crew together and verify they're meeting the safety requirements of having the right PPE, of worrying about any lifts, making sure that everyone has the right documentation, being concerned about fall hazards, making people aware of where there is issues. So this safety form could be filled out daily and managed to keep track of any issues or any hazards so people are aware of them. I mentioned RFIs before. So when you create an RFI, we can identify what the RFI is. We can attach photos. We can provide some reference to issues so that we know what the RFI really is, what's going on with the RFI, what needs to be done. And it's assigned to a person to answer the RFI. I mentioned issues. Let's look at a model and explain what I was talking about. So we have these models. Let me get the model of the building. So we have these models, 3D models, which also have 2D drawings. We can identify a particular, on the sheets, we can identify some markups. So as these drawings are reviewed by people, they can identify with a markup, a red line, if they need to coordinate, to collaborate with other players on the team. The yellow circles are issues, so someone can identify, I've got a question about this particular thing. In this case, this countertop looks like it cuts into the adjacent wall, and that's not what we want, so it has to be a design change. And that design change is assigned to a person with a due date so that can be accomplished. Now you could have many issues in a project. If I just click on one of them, it jumps right to the view that shows that particular issue, and now I can look at this issue. There is a drain detail needed for that particular roof drain. So the issues are a way of collaborating amongst all of the partners on the project. We also can control meetings and correspondence. So the correspondence can be kept as a record for every email or other correspondence that comes into the project, so we can look at that. Meetings can be created and have attend weekly meetings automatically scheduled, where the weekly meetings follow from one to the next, so that if there is a follow-up that's necessary, then that item or the issue would be rolled over to the next meeting. Each of the meeting has identifies who the attendees were. So let's look at the typical meeting. Here's a status meeting. So there's a typical report coming from the status meeting indicating who the attendees were, what was discussed in terms of the items, was it resolved or not, and if it wasn't, let it roll over to the next meeting. All right, so in the files, remember we had those issues. So if I go back to my model with issues, I can create a report so that the project manager can keep track of what the issues are and create a report of the issues, whether this is done daily or weekly, for the project manager to keep track of what issues there are. You can identify parts of the drawing that is relevant for that particular issue. It will show who was assigned that issue, when it was due, a photograph, in this case, from the field. Here's another issue and another issue. So these issue reports could be created automatically and then distributed to people on the project for resolution. All right, so what we've seen is that collaboration is that key part of the project management role. And all of these tools, whether we're talking about markups or issues or RFIs or change orders, whether it's correspondence or meeting, all of these contain information that's important for this collaboration to occur. And they're all built into this one platform. Specifically, the issue management system is the one place where questions can be requested from anybody on the project. And those issues can be managed by the project managers on a daily basis to see which ones are assigned, which ones are overdue, and what are the important ones. In the same vein, the everyday data collection that you do now can be made easy with one-time digital data entry using tablets or phones. Procedures and nomenclature can be standardized to make that daily data accessible to all. The most critical data, safety logs and daily logs, should be implemented first. So this is how that collaboration will benefit you. So we have a common data platform from design through handover, one tool to address all the problems, collaboration to keep all the players informed and moving together, accessible in the field, in the trailer, in the office, ensuring that all the tasks are managed, all issues addressed, and capturing and using data to predict job performance. These solutions make the job of the project manager go smoother and mitigates any risk. These PM tools I showed today came from the industry-leading provider of software for AEC and civil projects. The Autodesk Construction Cloud is complete enough to provide solutions to all the common problems and modular enough to customize the implementation to meet your unique needs. It provides solutions to all of these application areas, from design to fabrication and construction to operation. These solutions are designed to be able to be added in any combination. The apps are simple plugins, and the implementation is always customized to your particular requirements. As we have seen, implementation is key of getting the most out of your project management system. Microcad provides these services to help you be successful. And with that, let's see what questions have been coming in.
Thank you, Phil, for that wonderful presentation. Let me check what questions we have. Okay, the first question is, um, this seems like a big deal to implement. Can I do just part?
Yeah, it may seem like it's a lot because it is so comprehensive and it really touches all the players in the field. If you want to edge into this, then you could take a few topics like the safety and the daily reporting and implement those, train those people, and get that benefit right away. But obviously, the more benefit, the more people are involved, the more benefits you can get. So you really want to get this going as quickly as you can. This isn't rocket science. This is easy to use. It's easy to implement. People using devices that they're comfortable with, whether they're tablets or phones or desktops, even laptops, whatever they're comfortable with, and they should be able to get going very quickly. So to answer your specific question, it can be done in stages. Recommended you get the as much done as you can so that you can benefit from it in a wider footprint.
Great, thank you. And another one related to that is, what is the learning curve?
You know, you can take the each of these steps, each of these tools that we're talking about, whether it's the safety checklist or whether it's the pre-con takeoff. So each of those things can be learned in a very short time. You could get people up and running in with just a couple of meetings because this is a cloud base. It's very straightforward. It's intended for use in the field. It makes things easy. We do think that it's the first project that you're working on um, would benefit from having someone like us helping you and being available if there are questions, but you should be able to get moving fairly quickly. This is not a long implementation process. This is started up and within a couple of days, people are up and running successfully and don't need any hand holding. So to answer your question, the real commitment by senior management is the first thing, and that takes time. Once it's committed, once we go ahead to start doing the implementation, then getting people learning how to use it goes very quickly.
All right, thank you, Phil. And also, if you want to learn any of these topics in detail, you can take custom training with us. And we also offer group classes online. So, with that, I will also like to inform you about the upcoming webinars. You have the registration page on your right hand. We have on February 13 the rise of modular construction with Revit. And then on February 27th, we'll have from 2D to 3D, seamless transition with Revit again. So yeah, we highly encourage you to register if you're interested in any of this. And even if you cannot make it, you can register so you will get the on-demand recording. Same for this webinar, you will be getting the recording tomorrow at 1 p.m. So yeah, if we don't have further questions, here's our contact information based on region, and you also have here my email and number. So if there are no further questions, I would like to thank you all for attending, and thank you, Phil, for this presentation. And yeah, we'll see you on our upcoming webinars, hopefully. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Bye bye, Phil. Thank you.
Bye bye.